Rams. Happy Monday and welcome to the Monday Night Sports Show. I'm Brian Buck.
And I'm Jessica Mendoza. This weekend included a lot of orange as CSU celebrated Ag Weekend. So let's get right into the action.
A week after receiving $2 million to travel to Gainesville, Florida and take a beating at the hands of the Gators, the CSU football team attempted to cash out themselves, paying $375,000 to FCS Illinois State, hoping to buy a victory. 4 quarters of lackluster football later, and Rams players and coaches were left shaking their heads. The Redbird offense that had time and space to throw and especially run, putting up 538 total yards and 5 touchdowns on Saturday. And a defense that gave CSU the exact opposite. The Redbird defense racked up 10 hits on CSU quarterbacks along with 5 tackles for loss. The offense for the Redbirds only complemented the defense, scoring steadily and keeping a CSU tired defense on the field behind 2 big 4th down conversions and 8 plays of 15 or more yards. The CSU offense was able to show signs of life, passing for a total of 257 yards between KJ Carter-Samuels and Colin Hill, and rushing for a season-high 134 yards as a team. CSU had 2 interceptions, though, one from each quarterback that came early in the 3rd quarter from Carter-Samuels and late in the 4th quarter from Colin Hill, both halting any momentum that might have led to a CSU comeback. A big moment of the day did come for freshman wide receiver Nico Hall, who caught his first career touchdown as a Ram on a 17-yard pass. The Rams are now 1-4 and have their first bye week before resuming Mountain West play next week.
After the loss to Illinois State, head coach Mike Bobo was extremely disappointed in his team's play.
Okay. First of all, I'd just like to apologize to all our Ram fans that came out to support us today. It was an embarrassment, for our football team. We're not very good right now. That's the bottom line. We're not very good. We got to figure out some things to do over this next bye week. I think it's coming at the right time. And we got to get some guys on the field that do what their coach do. We got to coach better, and all that starts with me as the head coach. And it was an embarrassment today for everybody out there that is a Ram fan and is a supporter. All I can say is we're going to go back to work, and it probably falls on deaf ears, but we got to handle ourselves in that room and figure out what we can do to put ourselves in a position to compete. And there's a lot of football left to play. Everybody's going to look at our record, which is 1-4. But the only thing that matters next week is getting better, competing, and figure out how to compete on the road at San Jose.
After the game, heard KJ Carter-Samuels answering a lot of questions, shaking his head saying, I just don't know. Izzy Matthews on the sidelines towards the end of the first half was heard yelling at some of his offensive linemen saying somebody needs to step up and be the man. This is a CSU team right now that everybody's asking questions about. Coach Bobo's asking questions about. There's a lot of people that don't know what this team is, can be, will be. 1-4, it's a tough start.
It's a really tough start. I can't help but feel for Carter-Samuels and Hill. I personally feel like they're a little bit stuck between, this quarterback switch around. Obviously Carter-Samuels has been playing the most, but I feel like in that 2nd quarter, Carter-Samuels actually made a really good couple plays, got his team down the field, and then they threw in Hill after he threw in 1 duck after the Illinois defense came up into him. So I feel like Carter-Samuels is really getting pushed up out of the pocket, and I think he's really struggling with that. So I definitely hope to see this week, coming with a bye week, that the team will really work with their offensive line, really toughen them up, and hope to see better results for next week.
Like you said, 2 quarterbacks is always tough. There's a common saying in football, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. And Carter-Samuels last week threw a touchdown pass to Nico Hall. And the next drive, Colin Hill replaced him. Those are the kind of things where they destroy both of your quarterbacks' confidence. They give questions to the rest of the offense, and it causes a little bit of turmoil. So that's one thing they need to work on. But when you talk about a 1-4 start, 4 pretty rough losses, and a loss to an FCS opponent. I mean, look at Michigan back when they were ranked number 2 and they got beat by Appalachian State. They haven't been a top 10 team since. Maybe for a couple years here and there, but not consistently. That's the kind of loss that can derail your program, not just for one season, but for a couple years to come. You talk about recruiting, you know, the players that you have on the team, the repertoire that they have with their coaches. It can be a tough one. The CSU will have a bye week coming up to get a chance to kind of right the ship and figure things out before they take on San Jose State on the road next week.
The volleyball team traveled to Reno last week to play their first Mountain West opponent of the season, Nevada. Last season, the Rams went 2-0 with the Wolfpack, thanks to 2 3-0 sweeps by the Rams. This time around, the Rams gave Nevada one set before coming out on top 3-1. Olivia Nicholson had an outstanding game, reaching career highs with 20 digs and 4 aces. This weekend, CSU hosted their first home conference game against the San Jose State Spartans. SJSU tried to throw off the CSU offense by serving the ball right into the hands of setter Katie Oleksak. Lucky for the Rams, Oleksak played great defense throughout the game, and Nicholson was able to set up for the second touch and deliver many assists to her hitters. Nicholson was also dominant in the back row with 14 digs for the match. Reynolds led the Rams with 14 kills, which is surprisingly a low number for the outside hitter. But she was happy to see her team spread out the offense and allow more opportunities to her other teammates. Freshman Sasha Colombo really served up some heat on Ag Day, with 4 out of 5 of her serves being aces. CSU swept San Jose State comfortably in the first 2 sets, but just barely in the third, with a final score of 24-26.
Following the Rams' decisive victory over the Spartans, Coach Tom Hilbert joined players Brianna Runnels and Olivia Nicholson to review the match.
A couple of things. We had one of our goals was to keep our offense balanced today. I thought we did a fairly good job of that when we handled the ball, and it showed in our hitting efficiency numbers. The other thing, when we looked at all of our non-conference games, we really were way out of our normal range on getting blocked and hitting unforced errors. We were up in the 17% range, and we needed to bring that down. We did it in this match. We did it in Reno. So those are good signs. And then here, our kill percentage was nice and high. I was very pleased with us offensively. I was very pleased with us blocking until the third set. But part of the reason, in the third set, man, San Jose State, they just swing for the fences. And that's what they started doing there at the end. And, they were getting some kills because of it. And that's the exact same thing that happened last year at San Jose State. We win the first 2, and then the third, they're just wailing it, and they end up winning and beating us in the match. They are a bunch of smaller kids that really play hard, And so you have to do all your little things on your side and not allow the emotion that they bring to a set like that third one to get into it. And I was very pleased the way we ended that third set. I thought we did some really good things defensively. Katie had to take first balls. Olivia managed those balls really well. Brianna took great swings. So I was really pleased with that end game situation. So.
After finishing 6th in their opening tournament of the season, the women's golf team is in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho today and tomorrow for the Coeur d'Alene Collegiate Tournament. The field consists of 4 Mountain West opponents and 18 total teams. Through one round, the Rams find themselves at 10 over par, which is 12 strokes back of leader Illinois, who are at 2 under par. Top Ram is Katrina Pendergast, who shot 1 over in her first round, but finished with 4 birdies in her final 7 holes. The Rams are currently playing their second round of the day and will wrap up with a third round tomorrow morning.
Well, Ram fans, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because when we return, Litos Castro will update you with what's to come this week in CSU sports.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Hello, Ram fams, and welcome to Castro's Cut. I am Litos Castro, here to give you your update on what's to come up in CSU athletics this week. We've got a lot of Mountain West matchups and a lot of traveling teams this week. So, without further ado, let's get started. First, we're going to take a look at your golf team and your tennis team. First, the golf team is headed to the University of New Mexico to compete in the William H. Tucker Intercollegiate Invitational. Try saying that 5 times fast. That's going to be a 2-day event. Both all-day events. We'll keep you updated on those. They'll be finishing up on Saturday after they start on Friday. Then the tennis team, they're going to be having a 4-day event in Boulder this week. They're heading there for the Colorado Fall Invite. That's going to begin on Thursday and will finish up on Sunday. Next, we're going to keep moving forward. The cross-country team, they're going to be heading to Madison, Wisconsin on Friday for the Nutty Comb, Wisconsin Invitational. Whew, it's going to be a fun one. This is also going to be an all-day event that we'll keep an eye on for you and keep you posted. Now we're going to roll into the soccer matchups this week. On Friday, CSU is going to be heading to Idaho to face Mountain West opponent Boise State. That game is going to begin at 4 in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, they're heading over to Utah to face another Mountain West opponent, Utah State. That game is going to be at 1 in the afternoon. Next, we're sliding into the hockey rink this week. The hockey team begins their season with 2 games this week. On Thursday, they're going to have their very first matchup against Metro State University. That's going to be at 8:30 in the evening at Epic Blue Rink Arena right here in Fort Collins. That game time, again, at 8:30. And then their second game, that's going to be on Friday at 8 in the evening, and where they will host Minot State University, also at the Epic Blue Rink. That game, again, at 8 in the evening. Finally, we're rolling in to your volleyball team on Thursday. They're going to be traveling over to San Diego State. That game's going to be at 6 in the evening. We'll keep an eye on that one for you. And then on Saturday, they're going to be heading over to face Fresno State. They're staying in California there on Saturday. That game's going to begin at 2 in the afternoon. And then while we're on the subject of volleyball, we're going to take a look at your play of the week coming from the volleyball team. Here we have Maddie Fouts with a diving play to set up the team to come back on the serve there. Beautiful play. You got to give them credit there. So, Bryan, Jessica, we got to give it to the volleyball team this week.
Absolutely. That was really impressive, Maddie Fouts grabbing that ball. I love to see a diving pass. Also, that ball was pretty low, I noticed, so the fact that Katie Oleksak was able to get her hands on that, really impressive and a great setup. And then
Polina Hoger-Jensen, of course, getting the kill at the end. Hoger-Jensen was second in the NCAA last year in kill percentage at 471. She's following it up this year, 340. That's leading the Rams right now. So great play all around, all 3 points.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, that's all we have for Castro's Cup, but don't go anywhere because when we come back, Bryan and Jessica will have more sports updates for you.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back,
Here's CTV on this.
Welcome back, Ram fans. The CSU tennis team had a split doubleheader over the weekend, with half the team traveling to Milwaukee and the other half to Laramie. In Milwaukee, sophomore Emma Corwin went 2-1 in her singles matches over the weekend, but the rest of the Rams, Emily Kolbo, Emily Lutschwager, and Priscilla Palermo, left the tournament without a victory. Closer to home in Laramie, the Rams were more successful, with Alyssa Gravala and Riley Reeves both finishing the weekend with perfect records in single matches, and Stella Cliff winning 3 single matches between Friday and Saturday.
The CSU women's soccer team is now 3-4-3 after a rather unsuccessful week to open up conference play. First, the team traveled to New Mexico to settle some unfinished business with the Lobos after losing to them last season 2-4. The Rams applied some early pressure in this game, but not enough to get any points on the board before UNM's Cami Foth tallied the only point of the first half in the 8th minute. CSU's defense really struggled to hold off UNM in the second half, as they scored 2 more times in the first 15 minutes. Jennifer Munoz was necessary for UNM this game, feeding the assist for the second goal and scoring the third goal in the CSU net to make it 3-0. Following the game, head coach Bill Hempen assured the players their performance would not be the same for their next game against San Diego State. That game was yesterday, as the Orange Out festivities continued into CSU's comfortable territory this weekend. San Diego State took 12 shots for the duration of the game, while CSU was able to take 14. Although none found the goal. That outcome of the game, it was scoreless, which results in CSU's 3rd tie of the season. The outcome of the game may not have been what either team was looking for, but it wasn't all bad for the Rams. This tie was the first time that the program has had a favorable result against the SDSU Aztecs. Rams goalkeeper Hunter Pfeiffer played a huge role in yesterday's 4 saves, one being very crucial in the 88th minute of regulation. The CSU team will spend their time before their next conference game focusing on the final piece, as Hempen put it, scoring the ball instead of just shooting it, getting the ball outside of the goalkeeper's hands. After the game, CTV soccer reporter and Thursday Sports anchor Jared Stratton was able to speak with Coach Hempen about the tie.
Hi, I'm Jared Stratton here with CTV on the CSU soccer field for their 3rd tie of the season. Now, Bill, this is definitely one of the games that end up getting away from you guys at the end of the game. Is there anything that really contributed to this tie today?
Well, we didn't finish some of the clearer chances that we had, which has been a challenge for us all year. So that's the thing that hamstrings us. Now, on the bright side of things, that's one of the best teams in the conference, and we've never, in the history of our program, gotten anything out of that game. We've always walked away with 0. So we get a point out of it. Our first weekend of conference play, so we'd like it to be a little bit different, but we didn't come up completely empty.
Yeah, definitely. And with the skill level that you talked about with the Aztecs, what adjustments had to be made for this game?
We didn't really do anything real special. It was 2 4-3-3 teams playing against each other, so it was just kind of a, how are we going to match up with their players 1 versus 1, and just kind of outdoing them at what they do. And but I think it was a pretty decent game back and forth. But again, like I said, for us to get a point out for that team, that's a pretty big deal for us right now.
Yeah, definitely. And the next 2 games coming up, both away games, what can fans be looking forward to for these games?
Well, we ran into a unique situation on Friday night at New Mexico. They have a very special talent. And as of right now, I don't think that our opponents have that. The rest of our opponents next weekend have that, which was a challenge for us to defend. I'm talking about a long throw-in that they constantly threw, like literally right inside the 6-yard box. So, it's just going to kind of keep the enthusiasm we had today, and that I felt like we were a step even, and maybe in some cases a step ahead of them today, and just kind of keeping that mentality.
Yeah, definitely. I'm Jared Stratton signing off for CTV Sports.
CSU's next game will be held in Idaho to play Boise State on Friday.
As the Ag Day festivities went on for the weekend, CTV Sports reporter Sydney Wicker tested some fans to see how much they know about Ag Day.
Alrighty, do you guys know why CSU is orange today?
Yeah, Aggie Day. It's Aggie Day. It's Aggie Day.
Good job! High five! Awesome. Alrighty, can you tell me what Cam's name stands for?
Yeah, it stands for Cam the Ram.
Close, but it's actually an abbreviation. Do you know what that stands for?
Is it Colorado Agricultural and Mechanical?
Ah, that's right. Good job. High five. Why is CSU orange today?
Because it's Aggie Day.
Good job. Do you know why CSU used to be called the Aggies?
because it's a school of agriculture.
Good job.
There we go.
That's it. You did great. What is this color orange like to you? Do you know what the original color is called?
Pumpkin.
Good job. High five. That was awesome. Can you tell me why CSU is orange today?
Ag Day.
Good job. What is the abbreviation stand for in Cam's name?
I do not know.
Cam.
Cam, the abbreviation.
I have no idea.
Colorado Aggie, I don't know. What do we got?
Natural.
Colorado Aggie Mountain.
Cam.
Were we close?
It's close.
Okay.
What is it?
It's Colorado Agri.
Oh, you
Oh, that's good, that's good. It's hard, right? It's hard. Yeah.
Agricultural Mountain Conference?
No.
Do you know why CSU is orange today?
The Aggies.
Good job.
Yeah, the Aggies.
Good job. Do you know why CSU is orange?
They used to be called the Aggies, and the Aggies was orange.
That's awesome. Great job. Alrighty, why is CSU orange today?
Ag Day.
Good job. Do you know why CSU's colors were originally orange?
No.
Do you know why or what Cam's name stands for?
You know, I don't. Cameron, I'm going to guess? No.
Well, it has been an eventful weekend for CSU sports. Going into week 3 of NFL football this weekend, there was a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. I'm loving the NFL games this year. I feel like now that CSU betting is legal, I feel like everyone's doing it, but it's so not safe this year. Everything's kind of coming out from like underneath. Like you never know who's going to win. Speaking of, the Patriots have 2 losses so far this year. The Jags beat them already, and then the Jags go and lose yesterday to the Titans. I thought that was really awful.
Yeah, there have been a lot of upsets and some surprise teams that haven't been upsets. We've got Kansas City, Miami, and LA. LA's not really a surprise, but the Bucs are also undefeated right now. They're playing on Monday Night Football. They are losing, though, 16-7 to the Steelers. But I'm excited for these undefeated teams. Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. Everybody was like, hey, this kid's going to be pretty good, but I don't think anybody knew he was going to be as good as he's been. 13 touchdowns in his first 3 games. And Miami undefeated. I don't know if anybody called that one. So a couple really surprised teams out the gate that are leading the way. Again, the Rams, though, I don't think anybody's surprised by that one. They're calling them the greatest show on turf part 2. So a lot to look forward there if you're a Rams fan.
Absolutely. Well, all the other hype about is, you know, the Browns. That win. You can't forget to talk about that.
Baker Mayfield came out and he played pretty well.
Very impressive. And caught a touchdown pass from Jarvis Landry.
He did. That was a 2-point conversion.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, great job, cool. Baker Mayfield. We'll see if he can keep it up, though, because Browns quarterbacks haven't been great over the few years. You know, they've won a few here and there. He's going to need to string together a few victories, not just the first one.
Absolutely. All right, Ram fans, that is all we have for you tonight. Make sure you follow the CTV Twitter account for updates throughout the week. Thanks for tuning into CTV Sports. I'm Jessica Mendoza.
And I'm Bryan Buck. Have a great night, Rams.